Let's talk San Diego State Aztec, Boise State Bronco football. This is Lee Hamilton. Coach's Day. More in a couple of minutes. San Diego sports leader, XX 1090. Talk to the Aztecs head coach Rocky Long joins us here on Sports Watch. Credit to your kids, credit to the coaching staff. The weather conditions were as horrid as probably you've ever coached in, and I'm sure you've coached in some pretty bad conditions. How did you survive Colorado State? How did you make the adjustments to survive 50 to 75 mile an hour wind gust at Colorado State?
Well, I think that it put a strain on both offense and defense on both sides of the ball, them included. You never knew if the wind was going to be at your back or in your face, because as soon as you got comfortable with it being at your back, it would change. I think it made it tough to throw and catch the ball, but I thought our offense did a great job of maintaining possession of the football by running it efficiently. I just a little disappointed we didn't score more points, and I thought the defense played well most of the night, gave up a couple real long runs, but other than that, played well most of the night.
Abel Perez, I guess you found the solution. Make him kick into wind.
Well, I'll tell you what, not only was it hard to throw and catch it, it was hard to kick in that kind of wind. And the last one was a good one that gave us the margin for victory, so we're happy he made it.
In terms of the fact that Chris Nwoke ran for 232 on you, was that just his toughness? Was it the fact your defensive front got blown off the ball? How did that happen?
Well, 130 yards were on two runs. One of them we had an assignment error, so there was a gap in there, and then because of his abilities, he broke some tackles and outrun some other guys. The other one, I think that was almost 70 yards. The other one was a 67-yarder or something. He broke a tackle at the line of scrimmage and ran through two DBs and ran down the sideline. We finally pushed him out of bounds. So he had a great game, and the total is because of those two long runs. Otherwise, he'd had a 100-yard game, which is good too. But 230 is way too many.
Tough game. Ronnie Hillman, high ankle sprain. Walter KZ, season-ending injury. KZ has really grown as a running back, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the two of them together when they're healthy were really complemented each other. They had different styles and made it tough on the defense. Now, we feel bad for Walter because he's not going to play the rest of the year. And then Ronnie's beat up a little bit, so we might see some young running backs in there against a very good football team, and we're going to have to see how they'll do.
Next man up. Who is the next in the rotation beyond Hillman?
Well, Adam Wema is the one that played against Colorado State when Ronnie went down or couldn't continue. And Moema, if Ronnie's not able to play, Adam will be the starting tailback. And we haven't decided yet. We've got two freshmen in the program that will probably be the backup.
Rocky Long with us. Talk to the Aztecs at XX 1090. Rocky, let's talk about Boise State. Clayton Pakal, the TCU quarterback, throws 3 touchdown bombs early when he has done 473 yards passing and 5 scores, and he went after their battered secondary.
He did, and he's an up-and-comer. He'll be a great quarterback as he develops. What they have is experienced wide receivers that can really run fast, and they exploited some guys in the secondary because of the talent at wide receiver. Now, we don't have the same talent at wide receiver that TCU had. I think our quarterback's just as good, but we're going to have to try to stay in the game and win the game other ways because of the difference in talent at wide receiver.
TCU's defense really slowed down Kellen Moore. I mean, you hold him to 230 at home. That's a pretty impressive statistic. Is that just TCU's defense is that great?
I think it's because TCU has the fastest defense in the country. And when you're playing a team that throws it around the ballpark and gets the ball to a whole bunch of different guys that are playmakers like Boise State does, the more speed you have on defense, the better you're able to handle that. And so I think TCU might be the fastest defense in the country.
So you've looked at video on Kellen Moore. Describe him. Who would you say his style is like, the other guys you've gone against at quarterback?
You know, that's hard to say. I think he's as accurate a passer as I've ever seen. I would think that he would be a top draft choice, other than he's only 6 foot tall, and the pros are looking for the 6'4", 6'5" guys. He's got great touch. He's got great composure in the pocket. He never gets rattled. He sits around and waits until someone comes open, and then 90% of the time he puts the ball right on their hands. And he might be the most accurate quarterback I've actually ever seen on tape. and then he's got a whole bunch of playmakers to get that ball to.
Historically, Boise is putting offensive linemen in the National Football League now almost on a year-in, year-out basis. It started with Ryan Clady. I get the sense that he hardly ever gets touched, ever gets dirty, though TCU was the exception. They did chase him and bang him around, but is that what makes him a success, is just that pocket presence and protection?
Well, obviously, anytime you're that good on offense, the offensive line is key. And the offensive line does a great job of protecting him. And now he did get hit a few times against TCU, but we're back to the speed on TCU's defense. He didn't get hit that much in a game. I mean, quarterbacks get hit a lot more than he did at TCU, but he barely ever gets touched. And I'm sure that gives him confidence to sit back there and go through his progression and get it to the right guy. But the most impressive thing to me is how accurate he is with the football.
Rocky, my heart says zone him to death. Give him every look, make him throw into 7 or 8 coverage and go man and go zone and hit him with everything you can creatively come at. And granted, it won't be the same setup series to series. But is that the key to this thing, make him hold the football?
Well, I don't know. I think, like you said, I think you got to give a quarterback that has his experience and his talent, you can't give him too much of any one thing. I mean, you can't blitz him all the time and play man coverage. You got to give him some zones. You got to bring 3. You got to bring 4 every once in a while. You got to play a zone blitz. Sometimes you got to bring everybody and play straight man. I mean, with his experience, if you don't give him a whole bunch of different looks, it doesn't matter. You can drop 11 back there. He's going to find a guy and get the ball to him, and they're going to inch it down the field and score points. So I think you have to change things up. You got to give him different looks, and you got to go try to win the game. You can't just try to keep it close. You got to go try to win the game.
Rocky Long with us. Talk to the Aztecs at XX1090. Off the field, you've been in this a long time. How did they get so good? What did Dan Hawkins do to turn Boise into what they became? How is Chris Peterson built on Boise?
Well, I've tried to figure that out. I think Boise has a wonderful setup. I think athletics are very, very important in that town, and the university is the key ingredient to their sports entertainment value. And I think it's a nice place to live. But I think what the coaches that have been there before have done, including Chris Peterson now, is they do a great job of evaluating and recruiting. When they built the program, they evaluated kids that were not highly recruited that ended up being really, really good players. Now they are able to recruit the 5-star guys and those kind of guys. But when it was built by great evaluation and recruiting by the coaches.
Yeah, I mean, if you could push this thing to 55,000 or 57,000 for Saturday night's game, what would it be like for your kids to come out? Because this game really has national recognition written all over it.
Well, I hope we have a big crowd, but I hope they're for us, because I think that the home field advantage is something very, very important. We've experienced it a couple times this year already. It's gotten us close in a game, and it's gotten us over the hump in another game. To play a team as good as Boise and compete and have a chance to win, if you had a home field advantage by your crowd, that would really help.
I love matchups, and this will be a good one. Rock, appreciate the time, sir. Thank you as always.
I appreciate it, Lee. Thank you.
Rocky Long. Talk to the Aztecs. Bring on Boise State.